Well, hello and welcome to the Hope Cymru Talk Show. I'm Marcus Nelson. I'm joined today by Lee Jones. Great to have you with us, Lee.
Hey, cool. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Lee. It's so good to have you with us today.
Cool. Yeah, my name's Lee. I'm from Swansea, and I am married to a great woman called Mel. I got 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy, and we currently live in Cardiff. I'm a pastor in a church there called Gabalva Baptist Church.
Fantastic. And exciting things are happening, Lee. It's great to see what the Lord is doing and hear about what's happening in your church. Yes. And if you were to sum it all up, Lee, you know, like what's the heart of your message? You know, just very simply, like what are you selling, as it were? What are you doing?
It's simply Jesus.
Awesome.
Yeah. We only have one message, and it's and it's kind of put on repeat. It's got a different sort of wrapper, but the inside is the same. It's it's Jesus. We want to offer people Jesus, and
I love the way there was one point at which Malcolm Muggeridge, you know, the old journalist, he sort of said, but surely if you only talk about Jesus, you're going to run out of things to say, to which he went on to say, you know, like the man and his story are inexhaustible. Isn't that brilliant? So he's infinite and eternal, so we never run out of things to say about him. We're only just scratching the surface. And even, you know, you think about one of the greatest preachers, you know, these islands have ever known is Charles Haddon Spurgeon. You know, like the very end of his career in ministry. He's like saying, I've never really begun. I'm only starting. If only I could sort of go on in his service much longer even than I have, because I've not even told the half of who he is. And you know, so it's all about Jesus, and that's working, Lee. Like people come and want to hear about Jesus and meet with Jesus.
Well, when people meet Jesus, they're transformed. Awesome. And they know life in Him and are joined to Him. And that's what's
that's so encouraging, Lee, because I think today we sometimes think, oh no, people on the outside don't want to hear about Jesus, or they've already heard about Jesus and they don't want to, and the only way that we can, you know, see the church being rebuilt is by not talking about Jesus and by talking about lots of other things. But you're actually seeing that as you talk about Jesus, people are, you know, coming to hear and to meet with Him and to have their lives changed. That's brilliant. That's so encouraging. It was great to see that lovely wedding last week as well.
We drove past,
we saw the wedding. I couldn't believe, because it must have started at about 12, 12 lunchtime. And then I came past again at about 7 o'clock in the evening, and people were still there.
Going. It was brilliant. It didn't finish until about 10.
And that was a short sermon as well. That was one of the shorter ones. It was like it just kept going, and it was an amazing day.
It was brilliant. It was so nice. A girl who's from Llanelli with a lad from Birmingham, and they're part of our church, and so they were married there. We had the reception next door, and then some dancing in the night then in the church room.
Awesome.
Fantastic. It was really good.
It looked like a great time. There's been an idea that's, you know, like all the most powerful ideas never need to justify themselves. This sort of idea that's floated around in the culture for over 60 years now, that the best human experience is sexual one. And that if you know, the greatest happiness, fulfillment that we can have in life is in that sort of relationship with others. Is that true, and does it work?
Well, I think it's not true. Because that kind of existence isn't open to everybody. And so to say like this is the best life that you can live, and then to exclude loads of people from that, then that's not the meaning of life. Jesus is very different from that, because He will say, "Come to me, all you know, or whoever believes in me can have life." It's always open. It's the entire human race is invited to Him to know the existence of life. So it's very much caught up with Him. The Bible talks about sex as it is a gift from God, but it's to be enjoyed in a particular way, and it's between a man and a wife, a husband and a wife as they come together, and it's something that is what we celebrate, is marriage, and it's part of marriage, and it's a good part of marriage, but it's still only a small part. Is to express the enjoyment of being man and wife, and and enjoying the intimacy together, and also then for having children. So and building family. So it's into that it's given. But when we see these marriages, I don't know. I don't think loads of people in that room would just go in, now you get to have sex. I don't think they were doing that. I think they were thinking, this is great because this is something different. They've had these separate lives, these two people, and now they're coming together, and they're forming then a bond and a union, if you like, together, that has this potential of life to come from it and to build a family from. So I think people look on and they see that, don't they? They don't label it. Oh, now they get to do that. But that there, it points to something more. Yeah.
And what is that? So what we're saying then is that marriage, as it's been understood within the Christian church, down history and across the world, isn't an end in and of itself.
No.
But that it's a shadow and an image of something much bigger and better, which is available to everyone. So, as you said, the other sort of idea that floats around is discriminatory in all kinds of different ways. And there's all kinds of different people for whom that's not a possibility. But we're saying that marriage itself is not the be-all and end-all, that there's something bigger and more wonderful that points to, which is open to everyone. What is that? Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So every wedding that you see between a man and a woman coming together, it is pointing to a bigger thing, and that is Christ's love for his church. So in the Bible, there's a book called the Song of Songs, or you might have heard of it as the Song of Solomon. And that really picks up this great theme where Jesus is pictured as the groom. And he is the one who comes and takes then his bride, who is the church. And they form this bond, this union. And from them comes life. So there's this amazing sort of picture with every wedding as you see a husband coming and saying, I will love you and I will love no one else but you. I will be faithful to you and I will love you whatever condition you're in, through sickness and in health, whether you're rich or poor. So you have this unwavering commitment from the husband to the wife, which is just points to how Jesus looks at us. That he looks at us and says, no, I will commit myself to you through great sacrifice. I will lay down my life for you. That's the kind of love I am going to pour out upon you. But then you get this other one, don't you, of the wife. The woman then is saying words which a lot of people the hackles might go up, isn't it, of like, and I will submit to you. So she says, I will love you, so that's expected, and be faithful. She says that, and through all these other different conditions. But then she adds this word in, and people will get a bit freaked out by it, and I will submit to you. And what's happening there is that that wife, as long as she is married, will be pointing to the church, showing us what it's like to be the church. The church is to listen to Jesus. The groom and the husband will listen to him and submit ourselves to him. The church is supposed to walk around with this massive load of assurance that they are loved beyond their wildest dreams. They're supposed to walk around with such comfort and with such assurance that there's one who has got their back. There is one who will never leave them or forsake them. There is one who will love them. Whether that love is reciprocated or if it is reciprocated, no matter the quality, he will love them anyway. So you've got this lovely picture with a husband and wife coming together. You might see that is exclusive. It's a man and a woman coming together, and it's like, well, I can't be a part of that. But it's like, no, this is actually preaching to you. It's teaching you, no, that there's something greater that you can be a part of, and that is that Jesus loves his church, and you become part of his church. You become his bride. And then you're united with him. You've got a bond with him. You are a recipient of his love and his kindness and his sacrifice. And then we find our place there in lovingly listening to our husband Jesus, and submitting to his leadership over our lives, and but being full of assurance, and that we are his, and he will love us forever.
That's that's amazing. So that, like, it's that we were made for.
Yes.
Like that incredible reality of being known and loved by him. And when we try to put that on another person, it's too heavy a burden, isn't it? It's too much for anybody else. Does he have the capacity to love us and to draw close to us, to help us, to draw near to us all points of needs in a way that no one else can?
Yes, he does have that capacity. And you see the lengths at which he goes to be able to show us that love. Is that he's come from heaven to earth, and to live and to die for us. So the capacity of his love is just incredible. That he can look at us, and as dirty as we are, as unclean as we are, as rebellious as we are, still lay down his life for us. That is just an amazing capacity, that is. And there's an amazing capacity that's shown in John 3:16, where it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son." So there's this, a world perspective, that's the capacity of his love. He can love every single person of the world, and his sacrifice can actually be available for all of those people, to be made right.
And how does that then, Lee, that higher level, how does that then impact human relationships, the level down? What does that mean? So as we receive love from him, that we are able to love our wife in that same way? Is that what he enables us to do?
Yeah, that's right. Through us being involved with him and being united with him, we really get a sense of that love. And with receiving that love, we're able then, to look at the people that we are with and see them in a very different light. And actually be, someone that actually God can use to show that love. The love that he has for them can be shown through us. So when he does call the husbands to love their wives, and he calls the husbands to love with the same love as he did. So it's a laying of a life down. It's sacrifice. It's denial, so that another would be profited and would know good. So he calls that for every Christian. Every Christian, whatever position they find themselves in life. Their purpose is to love God and love their neighbor. So there's this outgoing love that, and God has made life like this, so that wherever we are, we are to find our purpose in loving God and loving our neighbor. So our children, our colleagues at work, or our flatmates can receive from us the love that Jesus has for them. It's kind of it can be like a conduit for that love to come out.
That's awesome. And then as we're in contact with people day by day in Cardiff or Swansea or wherever we are, that then we're able to share that same love that we've received. So and as that then plays out, we could say that we're made with this incredible purpose. I mean, this overwhelming love and kindness. The Son of God, always being loved by his own Father, loving us in the same way, freely and fully and forever, and never stopping, and with infinite capacity to do that. And then for some of us, that then looks like us laying down our life, for you and I, for our wives, in that same way that Jesus lays down his life for us. There's others, the way in which the church has understood this, that as we fall in love with Jesus, then we see that there's some of us for whom we're called to love our wife, or love our husband and lay down our lives for them that same way. And then there's others for whom it's singleness, and being completely devoted to Jesus and his kingdom and his family. What does that then look like, Lee, and how is that possible given all these higher level things?
Well, Jesus himself lived that single life, didn't he? So if you're single, It's not a matter of it's not as good as being married in the Bible. We don't get that.
Yeah.
It's like being married in the Bible is good, but it's difficult.
Yes.
Being single in the Bible is good, but it's difficult.
Yes.
Just they're good in different ways and difficult in different ways. Yeah. So we live really to love God and love our neighbor, whatever position of life we find ourselves. And so with a single person, like Paul does in 1 Corinthians 7, he does go for the singleness of like, you've got one ways in which is good is you've got no other person to think about. And it can mean that you can serve God wholeheartedly, a lot more fully. Like the husband and wife has got someone else that they now have to incorporate into their life and being, really, but the single person not. And so the Lord has a place for you, and where you find yourself, he does encourage us not to try and get out of the places that we find ourselves. So that's part of like, let's do what the church, what the wife does with the husband and submit to their ways, to his. Let's look at the Lord and say, no, this is where he's put me. I don't have to try and escape of this or get out of this, but let me just live where the Lord has placed me. I'll look to love him and to love my neighbor as myself, and because that is the higher sort of life is living like Jesus. The lower life is to listen to what the devil, his teaching is just think of number one. So that's like that's when it all goes pear-shaped. The higher life is that Jesus is able to help us to live like him wherever we are. So we submit to him in the position in life that we find ourselves in. But it's got immense purpose. He's got immense purpose for us that we might show off his love to others wherever we are.
That's awesome, isn't it? Faithfulness in marriage, celibacy in singleness. And in that way, contentment as we're part of this life with Jesus, being loved by him in the same way his Father's always loved him. That's an incredible reality. And do you find, like, as you share that good news with people in your church family, that is good news for people of all, different backgrounds and stages of life? I do find that. We have been away and have been looking at this sort of topic, and for many of our members, it's totally transformed the way that they see their life. Like one of the members on Wednesday, I was sitting talking to her over some food in church, and she's saying that her perspective towards work has massively been changed. That she'd had a day off that day, going back to work tomorrow, and usually the dread has set in by now, and you want to try and not think about it. And but that's not where she was. She was in a place of like, right, I get to go back to work tomorrow, but with a very different perspective. Of seeing how I've been placed there by Jesus and able to have got purpose in that. This sort of this belief that that Jesus is in control of everything, that he's got purpose in me being there, and this love that comes from him and a commitment that comes from him. It has made her just full of assurance, relaxed, peaceful, just to go and do what Jesus has got for her. Awesomely. Well, thanks so much for sharing. That's what we want for so many others, isn't it, as well?
Big time.
God bless you, Lee. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. No, that's cool. Cheers.
Awesome.